everybody, I want to talk to you today about vision. How do we have vision? Where does it come from? And did you know that we are called to just start? And so I want to read a couple of scriptures to you, and then we're going to jump right into it. Jeremiah 1:5. We should all know this verse, but if you don't, let me read it to you. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and before you were born, I consecrated you. I have appointed you as a prophet to the nation. And I also want to read 1 Samuel 17:37 to you. Saul said to David, "Go, and the Lord be with you." And so I want to hang out on this one because in this, it doesn't say that Saul told David, go and then do this, and that, and then the Lord will be with you. He literally gave him a command, go. And the rest is up to God. And that's what I want to talk about today, is that we are called to just start. And so who am I talking to today? I'm talking to the ones who have had desires and dreams to start something or to do something, but maybe you've allowed procrastination to take hold. Maybe you've allowed the what ifs to keep you bound. And so I want to speak to you today about my personal experience and what God is currently taking me through right now in this very moment. And so the moment you take the first step of faith, the moment you start, seeds of courage begin to sprout. The ones that God has already planted on the inside of you, they begin to come forth, not just in your heart, but in your life. You will feel it. You will begin to feel the stirring. You will begin to feel the anticipation of what God is going to do. A lot of times we ask God to open a door, but we never take the first step for that door to actually be open. And so you're not searching for courage. It's already on the inside of you, and all you have to do is step out and watch what God will do with it. He will start making that thing it will begin to blossom and bloom in your life. And so all you have to do is just start. You have to step out and trust Him. Like Saul said to David in 1 Samuel 17:37, go, and the Lord will be with you. And so I'm commissioning you today to just go and watch what the Lord will do. If you have wanted to start, say, a women's Bible study, a men's Bible study, a podcast, whatever it may be that the Lord has put on your heart. Maybe some of you on here are called to business. Maybe you are called to a women's ministry with battered women or women that have been hurt and abused. Whatever that desire is on the inside of your heart that you know that you feel that you can't shake. See, that's the thing about vision that God gives us, is it's something that will never perish. And so when it's vision from the Lord, you literally can feel like I have a vision right now in a dream, and I believe that I have procrastinated so long on it that now thinking about it, I get butterflies in my stomach, because it's like I can feel the pulling of the Holy Spirit saying it's time to start. Too much time has passed. There's been too much procrastination, and I've allowed the fear of the unknown, the uncertainty, to hold me back. And so I'm here to encourage you, as I'm encouraging myself today, do not allow fear to keep you bound. You see, because oftentimes we want to ask God for that open door, and we want to ask God to move, but we're not asking Him to change our hearts for us to be able to go through that open door. And so overcoming fear means surrendering control. It means that we can't control what happens from here on out, but we have to trust God through the process. It is vital to trust God through the fear. Oftentimes, our peace is waiting on the other side of our trust, which means taking that step and going, taking that step and starting your women's meeting or your men's ministry or whatever business or whatever thing that God has placed in the desire of your heart. Whatever that thing is, just step out in faith, trusting and believing that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly more than you and I could ever ask or think. I want to read this to you. When we are afraid, we have a tendency to pray and ask God for peace before we'll step out and do what frightens us. But most of the time, we simply need to move forward, and God will meet us there. If you're waiting for a sense of peace to come before you step out, you could be waiting a lifetime. Don't allow fear make you say no when God is leading you to say yes. When we stop praying for God to change our circumstance and start asking Him to change our hearts for it, that's when we will experience the peace that passes all understandings that Philippians 4:7 tells us about. Here's another thing. Courage is not the absence of fear, but it's the triumph over it. And another thing on that is if you are feeling feelings of fear, anxiety, timidness, being shy. Like, one thing for me personally is that, God, I can't do that. I can talk to people I know, but I'm not great at being a huge public speaker. And so even things like this, these videos, cause something on the inside of me to be like, but the Holy Spirit is greater than that on the inside of me, and He's just speaking, daughter, go. You're commissioned. You're called to go. Regardless of how my physical flesh feels about it, I know that my spiritual, the Holy Spirit living on the inside of me, is greater than that. And there is a calling and a purpose attached to my life, just as there is for your life. And so God does not produce feelings of fear or anxiety. So if you're feeling that, you need to tell the enemy to shut up and be quiet, because you are called and commissioned for so much more. And so I want to encourage you today, start that podcast, start that women's ministry, start that men's ministry, start that business, start that t-shirt company, whatever it may be. Write those songs, put yourself out there, and trust that God is going to come through, because if He has given it to you, He's called you, He's qualified you, and He's equipped you for the journey. Be blessed.